The Mexican-American War, a pivotal moment in North American history, ended with a resounding victory for the United States. The year was 1848. The Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo redrew the map, stripping Mexico of vast territories. Imagine, however, a different outcome. What if Mexico had emerged victorious from the conflict? The ramifications of such a turn of events would have reverberated through history, shaping the destinies of nations and continents. Picture this. Mexican troops, emboldened by victory, hold their ground against the invading U.S. forces. The spirit of resistance, ignited by the defense of their homeland, courses through the veins of the Mexican people. The tide of war turns, and the United States, facing mounting losses and dwindling public support, is forced to sue for peace. In this alternate timeline, Mexico retains control over territories that would become the American Southwest. Texas, California, and the vast expanse in between remain under Mexican sovereignty. The dream of manifest destiny, the belief in the God-given right of the United States to expand from coast to coast, lies shattered. This victory would have had profound consequences for both Mexico and the United States. It would have reshaped the balance of power in North America, leaving Mexico as the dominant force. The consequences, however, would extend far beyond the borders of these two nations. The United States, humbled by defeat and grappling with internal divisions, would have been a nation in retreat. The westward expansion that had defined its character for decades would have ground to a halt. The dream of a nation stretching from sea to shining sea would have been replaced by the reality of a continent divided. The political landscape of the United States would have been irrevocably altered. The expansion of slavery, a contentious issue that had fueled sectional tensions, would have been contained. The South, denied the opportunity to spread its plantation economy westward, would have found its political power diminished. The North, meanwhile, would have been forced to confront the limits of its own ambitions. The allure of manifest destiny would have faded, replaced by a sense of caution and a recognition of the costs of imperial overreach. The United States, once a beacon of hope for those seeking freedom and opportunity, would have become a nation wrestling with its own internal demons. Mexico, on the other hand, would have emerged from the war as a regional power. The vast resources of the territories it retained, including the fertile farmlands of California and the mineral wealth of the Southwest, would have fueled its economic growth. Mexico City, already a center of culture and commerce, would have blossomed into a true metropolis, rivaling the great cities of Europe. Mexico's victory would have ignited a surge of national pride and unity. The country, long plagued by internal divisions and political instability, would have found a new sense of purpose in its triumph over a powerful adversary. This newfound confidence would have extended to all aspects of Mexican society, from politics and economics to culture and the arts. The influx of wealth from its expanded territories would have allowed Mexico to invest in infrastructure, education, and industry. Railroads, financed by the profits of California gold mines, would have crisscrossed the country, connecting its far-flung regions and facilitating trade. Universities would have flourished, attracting scholars and students from across Latin America and beyond. The Mexican government, eager to develop its newly acquired territories, would have encouraged immigration from Europe and Asia. Skilled workers, lured by the promise of opportunity, would have flocked to Mexico, bringing with them their knowledge, skills, and entrepreneurial spirit. The population of Mexico would have swelled, its cities bustling with a diverse mix of cultures and languages. This economic boom would have had a profound impact on Mexican society. A new middle class would have emerged, challenging the traditional power structure of landowners and elites. Education and literacy rates would have soared as the government invested in public schools and universities. Mexico, once a nation struggling to find its place in the world, would have become a beacon of progress and modernity. With its newfound wealth and power, Mexico would have asserted itself on the international stage. No longer content to be a pawn in the games of European powers, Mexico would have become a force to be reckoned with. Its influence would have been felt from the halls of power in Washington to the capitals of South America. The Monroe Doctrine, the cornerstone of U.S. foreign policy that declared the Americas off-limits to European colonialism, would have been rendered moot. Mexico, with its own ambitions for regional dominance, would have resisted any attempts by the United States to dictate terms in its own backyard. The relationship between Mexico and the European powers would have been complex and multifaceted. On the one hand, Mexico would have welcomed European investment and trade, recognizing the need for foreign capital and expertise to develop its economy. On the other hand, Mexico would have been wary of European political influence, determined to chart its own course and avoid becoming a neo-colony. Mexico's rise as a regional power would have had a ripple effect throughout Latin America. Inspired by Mexico's success, other Latin American nations would have sought to emulate its model of development. The bonds of language, culture, and history that united the nations of Latin America would have been strengthened as they looked to Mexico for leadership and inspiration.